Hello, students. Today we are going to discuss another topic from the first chapter only of the book of Human Geography. Our today's topic is Human Geography through the corridor of the time. Now, what is the meaning of the corridor of the time? That means how human geography changed itself or how human geography changed its subject matter through different periods. Like from the early colonial period to the present, what are the changes or what are the broad features you can see in the human geography? That is a simple meaning. Now, you can see with the process of the adaptation, adjustment, and the modification of the environment, human beings have changed the nature. Human being make the difference in their ecological niches. It means that through the process of the adaptation, human being adopted so many things. Human being started doing adjustment with the nature, as well as they modified the natures also. We have seen this concept in the concepts of the possibilism or environmental determinism and all these things. Now, if you will imagine the beginning of the human geography, you will find at the beginning there is an interaction between the environment and the human being. Obviously, human beings were totally dependent on the environment at the beginning. Afterwards, the things change. Human beings started doing adaptation with the nature. They start adjust with the nature, and they started modifying the nature also. Human being having a long temporal condom through the approaches of the articulate them have the change over the time. The dynamism of this approaches thrust shows the vibrant nature of the discipline. Obviously, through the corridor of time, it has a lots of change, so it is a vibrant in nature. There is very little interaction in the earlier days between the societies, and the knowledge about the society was very limited to the geographer or the human geographers. The travelers used to get information of the areas they used to visit. The navigation skills were not developed at that time, so we are having very little concept about the different areas. The late 15th centuries, the exploration in the Europe, the slowly myths and mysteries about the countries and people started to open up. So earlier we had a very little interaction between our different societies, and we had a very little knowledge about the different things of the societies also in human geography. But gradually with the time only it happens, the exploration started, the navigation skills were modified, or slowly we are getting the different information. In the colonial period, you can see that exploration in order to access the resource of the region, it was because of that only we are getting the information. You have seen during the British colonial period or during the Dutch colony and Portugal, during the time of the different colonies, it happens they have started discovering new places where they are get the resources, and by that only we are getting the information about those things. Now, this is how with the process of the time how human geography change itself. Now, in case of this changes, you will find that human geography is divided into some periods. You see this chart, and you will find the same chart in your book also, it is present. Human geography, on the basis of the features and the approaches, human geography is divided into some periods. What are these periods? These periods are the early colonial period, later colonial period, the period of the 1930s, the late 1950s, late 1960s, and the late 1970s and late 1990s. So we have divided the periods of the human geography. Now you can see in this chart, the first period is the time of the early colonial period. And in this early colonial period, the main thing was there, that was the exploration and the description. Now, what is this exploration and description? In this time only, the trading, because of the trading in interests, different discoveries, different exploration took place, and because of that, new areas come to in the beginning come to the world. Now, an encyclopedia description of the area formed and important aspects of the geographer's account. Before this early colonial period, there was no colony in the world, so there was no people were not moving in the different parts, as the navigation system and all were not good. So during this colonial period, it has happened that in search of maybe the resources only, or in search of the power only, the people started exploring new places, and because and they are getting the new information about that places. Now the later colonial period. Later colonial period is the period of the regional analysis. In the later colonial period, you can see the approaches, it is written the regional analysis. Now what is this regional analysis? Now in this time they started elaborating the description of all the aspects of the region were undertaken. The idea was that all the regions were the part of a whole, that is the earth. So understanding the part totally would lead to understanding the whole. Now they said that in this later colonial period, suppose a place they have invented or they have discovered a place, so the description of the place in an elaborate manner, or description of the region in an elaborate manner, were undertaken, and the ideas of the region were part or the whole. It was started people getting the information about that particular area. So a regional analysis, that means a particular region was invented. About that region, the entirely elaborate description or all the aspects of the region were undertaken in this period of the time. Now see the next period, that is the third one, that is 1930s through the interwar period. In this period, the human geography approach was areal differentiation. Now what is the meaning of areal differentiation? Different place is different from other. Suppose if you will go for the different place, suppose an example Shiliguri, and you can take a example of a particular place, suppose Vishakhapatnam. So in both the places you will find areal differentiation. Climate is different, you will find the people are different, you will find their food habits are different, you will find cropping pattern, soil, everything is different. So simple, this is only the areal differentiation. In this period the focus was there identifying the uniqueness of that particular region. Suppose a region was invented, you have collected all the informations about the region in this regional analysis, but in this stage you need to identify the uniqueness of that particular region, and understand, you need to understand also how and why it was different from other regions. Geography having a three sets of the question: why, where, and when. So in this way also you can say that in this areal differentiation you need to find out the unique feature of that place, and you need to find out that what is the different, or how this place is unique, or why that place is unique from the other place. Now see the next, that is the fourth period, that is in the late 1950s to the late 1960s. In this period you will find the spatial organization. Now what is the work of this spatial organization, what is the features? It is marked by the use of the computers and the sophisticated statistical tools. The spatial organization here, earlier we don't had any use of the computer or any kind of the statistical tools, but in this time we have started making the maps, we have started making the analysis of the things. The phase was called the quantitative revolution. Quantitative revolution means where you are started doing something with the numbers, where we are doing something with the statistical things. The main objective to identify the mappable pattern of the different human activities. You can make the different maps, like in the geography nowadays you can see the different areas having the different map, cropping pattern, weather, and all the things we are showing by the map only. Map is a very important tool of the geography. So in this period only, late 1950s, this system started, and we are talking it about the quantitative revolution in geography. Now see the next period, that is the 1970s. In this time the emergence of humanistic, radical, and the behavioral school starts. I will discuss later on what is this humanistic, radical, and the behavioral schools. Now what is the feature of this time? This time it happens the discontentment with the quantitative revolution and its dehumanized matter of doing geography led to the emergence of the three new schools. And the schools' names already I said. In the period of the 1970s, human geography was made more relevant with the socio-political reality by the emergence of those school thought. And the last stage, that is the postmodernism of the geography from 1990s to the present, you can say. The grand generalization and the applicability of the universal theories to explain the human conditions were questions. The importance of understanding each local context its own right was emphasis. In this period you can generalize everything, you can apply everything in the universal theories, and everything on the any local context you are having the detailing of that also. So these all are the phases, periods of geography, or we can say it is a broad stages. You need to go through this chart very properly. Now let's discuss about those three schools which I said about the 1970s. The first was there, that is the humanistic school of the thought or the welfare school of the thought. Humanistic or the welfare school of, by the name of the welfare only you can understand, this is the well-being of the people. In geography, the main concern were different aspects of the social well-being of the people. It includes aspects such as the housing, health, education. Geographers have already introduced a paper of geography of social well-being in a postgraduate curriculum. Obviously, in your postgraduate curriculum, this kind of the paper is there where we are only going about to read about a social geography. In this part only we are talking about the well-being of the human being. Now the radical school of the thought. Radical school of the thought always explain the Marx theory. You heard the name of the Marx. In this radical school of the thought, they are always discussing about the poverty, deprivation, social inequality. Is they are talking about the haves, haves nots. And in case of that, in this particular radical school of the thought, they are talking or they are highlighting the different social problems that is developed due to the capitalism. You know, the capitalism, it's not a good idea for the world. Obviously, where the capitalism there, obviously there in the society you will find a huge inequality is there, poverty will be there, deprivation will be there, some people will be very rich, some people will be very poor. So in this radical school, this concepts were developed. And the last school, that was the behavioral school of the thought. Behavioral school of the thought led to the great emphasis on the lived experience and the participation of space by social categories based on the ethnicity, race, and the religion. In this behavioral school, you are always learning about the different race, different religion, different ethnicity, a different kind of the people. So, three schools. Welfare schools, in simple, it only talks about the social well-being of the people. Radical school, it is the social condition of the people. Social condition means especially the problems of the societies and all. And the behavioral school is talking about the race, religion, and the ethnicity, different, basically different social categories of the society. So this is the three schools that emerged in the period of the 1970, and this is also very important for this chapter. For today, this much only. Thank you.